Hello everybody, welcome to Into the Heart Wild. My name is Alyssa and today we are going to be talking about my 2021 wrap-up. I am actually going to be doing the book tag that Dominish Books posted, so I will have his video linked down below. I will also have the 10 questions written out in the description, that way you guys can all find it and everything. But I figure this would be a nice fun way to kind of wrap up my year-end reading and everything. I will say, when I was going over the questions and was attempting to find my answers for them, I realized I didn't really have like a good reading year. A lot of books that I read this year, I either thought they were like very mediocre or I absolutely hated. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's okay to just like not really have like a good reading year. Like there was books that I did love and I did enjoy, but I just found that like when I like really thought about like what my favorite book was, I was like, I have like 2, maybe 3 that I could pick from. You know, so but I was able to find answers for every single one of these. So with that said, let's just go ahead and dive in and see how my reading year for 2021 was. So question number 1 is favorite book of the year. And I'm going to have to go with The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. This is actually, while I do own the first 3 books in The Faithful and the Fallen, and then the next 3 in the Banished series. Yes, I'm missing the last book. This was actually the first John Gwynne book that I have actually read all the way through. I started Malice, but I never finished it because life. I will go back and read it though. But I absolutely fell in love with this, and I fell in love with his writing, and it definitely made me understand why everybody talks so highly of his previous series. And just it blew me away, and I was just like, this is like such compelling writing. It just like, it grabs you, it sucks you in and everything. I actually fell in love with like Varg's portion of the story, but ultimately like they were all amazing, and his portrayal of an angry mother, perfect. Like he did her justice. Okay, like she is strong, she is angry, and she is getting her baby back. And I really like how he did that. So this was definitely, without a doubt, my favorite book of the year. Question number 2, favorite series you started this year but not finished. And for me, that goes to the I struggle with that word, Revelations. I have read Theft of Swords and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the characters. I love just the simplicity of it. It's such an easy fantasy to follow, and it's very easy to get into. And then the duo of Hadrian and Royce is just phenomenal, and they're so entertaining, they're so funny. It takes a little bit to get into it and everything, but then it just kind of, you know, it falls into itself. And I really just like how classic it feels, because it uses a lot of very classic tropes and classic storytelling and everything, and it just makes it very easy to immerse yourself into and just like really get into and just enjoy. It doesn't overthink, and it doesn't oversell itself, and the world is very easy to pick up on, and I really enjoy that. And I like that, you know, it's 2 books in one. So I do have more to finish out. It is a series I had wanted to finish this year but didn't happen, so I'm definitely looking forward to finishing this one up next year. Question number 3, favorite series you finished this year. So I am actually going to go with a middle grade series, because after looking over everything that I've read, I have only finished one series, and it's a middle grade series. I have a lot of series started but not finished, which is something I'm going to tackle next year. But I have chosen to go with The Chronicles of Prydain by Lloyd Alexander. I always say his name backwards. I always say Alexander Lloyd. But there's book 5, The High King, 4, Terran Wanderer. 3, The Castle of Lear. 2, The Black Cauldron. Number 1, The Book of 3, and then even the, I guess like book 0, I guess you could call it, but The Foundling and Other Tales. I actually surprisingly never read this series as a kid, which is crazy because I'm like, how did this get past my radar? That doesn't make sense, especially considering I have actually seen the movie, the Disney movie, you know, The Black Cauldron, hundreds of times. It's a favorite. And I knew it was based off of a book series, yet apparently I never connected the two to actually go and read them. So I changed that this year. I changed that this year and I read the whole series. As a whole, it's fun. It's classic. I understand why so many people loved it and like what draws them into it, because it has just all of those great fantasy elements and everything. I do have to say the best book in the series is The Black Cauldron. So I do understand why Disney made their movie based off of that one. But as a whole, the series is great and it has a lot of lovable characters. So yes, this was the series that I finished this year and I loved it. It's definitely going to be a favorite going forward, and I can definitely see myself rereading it and just enjoying the story all over again. Question number 4, favorite new author discovered this year. That is going to go to the indie author T.A. Bruno, who wrote In the Orbit of Sirens and then On the Winds of, I say Cassars. I don't know if that's correct though. But I fell in love with this series. It was just, his world building is phenomenal. It is fun. I want to live on this planet that he has created, from the plant life to the animal life to the giant walking, talking birds. Yes, please. I want to be friends with the Ocni. Like, I am so in love with this race of walking, talking birds. Like, that is what drew me into this series, and that is what has had a hold on me. And I am here for Bruno's imagination. It is something else, and just the way that he describes his world, it pulls you in, and the storytelling on top of that is just amazing. Like, he broke my heart in this one, then he proceeded to break my heart in this one, and I was like, sir, that's rude. So I'm definitely looking forward to book 3, and I know he's gonna rip my heart out in book 3 because of the way book 2 ended. I just know, okay? But he is definitely my favorite new author that I found this year, and I'm going to be looking forward to everything and anything that he writes, because it's phenomenal. Did I mention that? It's phenomenal. Question number 5, favorite new character of the year. So I actually picked 2 characters for this one because I like them for 2 very different reasons. So the first one is going to be Hadrian from Theft of Swords. This was one of those situations where the minute he started talking, I was like, sir, you're my new husband. Like, simple as that. Like, I got his description, he started talking, you started to see his personality, and I was like, you're my husband. So that is how I refer to, you may think it's weird, but that's how I refer to him. He's my favorite character. He has made his way to what person doesn't have like that husband-wife list or whatever? Like, that's where he's at. He is my favorite. It's like I said in like my written review, he's described as, tall and well built, and he's got like a heart of gold, and he always wants to do the right thing, and he wants to help people, and I'm a sucker for guys like that, okay? I'm a sucker for them. And then he's partnered with Royce, who's small and angry. So I'm just like, yes, Hadrian. Yes. I want to know where his story goes, what his importance is and everything, but also I just want to continue seeing him just be like this giant gentle force of just protectiveness, and I love that about him. The second character that I picked goes to Penrick from the Penrick and Desdemona series by Lois McMaster Bujold. I hope I said that right, but I have quite a few different versions of this series because I have fallen in love with it. But the thing with Penrick, it's not so much as falling in love with the character, because like I said, I'm trying to figure out how to say this, but basically I love the way he talks about the woman that he is in love with. Like, he is head over heels in love with this woman, and he is described as being like over 6 feet tall. He's got like a lean masculine build. He's got this long blonde beautiful hair and blue eyes, and like he's just like striking and stunning, and you know, everyone's like, wow, he could have like the most beautiful wife ever, da 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 da. And he meets this woman. She's described as like short, plump, which means she's on the heavier side, and he is just like, I'm in love. Like, he takes one look at this woman and he is just like, woo, he is lost to her, and he is just like, I am in love with her. I will do anything to be with her. I will give up everything. He gets to the point where he starts ignoring his boss. His boss is like, hey, you need to come home. And he's like, yeah, see, I'm still trying to win this woman's heart, so no, I'm not coming. I'm not coming back. You know, it's a very domestic, like it's one of those series that feels very domestic, because it's not like this huge like world with war and stuff going on. It's just Penrick's got 10 demon ladies living in his head, and he has to learn how to work with that. And so you just kind of like see his daily life as he's dealing with it. And so when this woman that he falls in love with comes into the story, you see how they interact with each other, and it's beautiful the way it plays out and everything, but it's just the way he talks about her. He's just like, she's so gorgeous, she's so beautiful, she's so plump and soft, and I want to hug her and I want to lay my head in her arms. She'll be like the perfect pillow. And I'm just like, you are just so like, you are just out of this world, sir. And like, and I love it, like, just, and like, that's like his internal thoughts to himself and everything. And he's told her, you know, like, he thinks she's beautiful and stuff, and he's just like, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever met in my life. You know, and like she's insecure sometimes about herself, and he's just like, you're a goddess, you're a goddess. And I'm just like, oh. And I just love it. I just love seeing male characters that just like fawn over the woman that they're in love with, and he does that. So yeah, there's those ones. I do want to show you the other like 3 little special covers I have for it. They're the Subterranean Press ones, but I love them too. Like I said, I am seriously just in love with this, and on it, like, they're all like little novellas. And honestly, Mira's Last Dance, it's like the best one because it's just hilarious, the things that Penrick goes through. But yes, this series, amazing. And it's all just, and like I said, my biggest attraction is just the way Penrick talks about the woman he's in love with. And I'm just like, I want a guy who fawns over me like that. It's amazing. Question number 6, favorite new release of the year. So this is a book that I actually do not own yet. I am going to be owning it because I did love it, and that would be The Maleficent 7 by Cameron Johnston. I almost forgot after I just went and read his name on one of the other books I own by him. But I just really loved the whole thing about it, and I love that it followed villains. It was wild, it was crazy. There was a couple moments that like got at my heartstrings. I'm a sensitive person, so it doesn't always take much. It doesn't take much to get me to feel my emotions. So if you manage to not be able to do that, that's a problem. But anyways, Maleficent 7, definitely, it pulled at my heartstrings, but also it was just one of those books where you just could not put it down. You just kept going and kept going. And like I said, it follows the villains' point of views, and these villains, you meet them all very quickly, but they feel so fleshed out, and you're just like, I love this entire crew. They're all wild and crazy. And, you know, and it was just so much fun, and it's definitely one that I'm just like, I believe I read it in like 2 days because I just couldn't put it down. So yeah. Question number 7, favorite reread of the year. So I did a bunch of rereads last year, but I don't always reread. But I did do, so like, and like I actually didn't like reread any books this year. Why am I feel like I'm answering this in such a weird way. So I did reread a book, but it is not like a novel book. It is a manga. I reread a manga series, which is an old, super old favorite of mine, but I got the deluxe collector's editions of it that comes with like new updated translations and such. So that would go to Cardcaptor Sakura. This is by Clamp. I love this series with like all of my heart, like Sakura and Madison, which is this girl. That one's Sakura, that one's Madison. They are my daughters. When I was a young girl, they were my best friends. Now they are my daughters. But this is what I reread the whole series, and I still love it just as much. I do recognize the problematic moments in it because there is some questionable subject material in here that as a child went right over my head, but now as an adult, I'm like, that's not okay. But it still is just sweet and fun, and it holds up, and I'm so glad that they did these beautiful collector's editions. And yeah, it's definitely one that I've read it so many times as like a child, but as an adult, I think this is the first time I've actually reread it as an adult, and I still love it. It still has like that beautiful, just nostalgic thing. And I've got some 2 really beautiful giant figures of Sakura from this series. Like, that's how much I love her. I've dropped some money on this girl. So yeah, that is my favorite reread of the year. Question number 8, your biggest surprise of the year. And that is going to go to The Forgotten Beasts of Eld by Patricia A. McKillop. I actually did a buddy read of this with my best friend, and while it wasn't a 5-star read for me, it was definitely surprising in terms of material. What drew me to the book was the synopsis tells you that a 16-year-old girl gets a baby dropped into her arms and is like, here, you gotta take care of this baby. And I was like, what? Unfortunately, that portion of the story doesn't last long, pretty much about a chapter. So I was really upset because, you know, the synopsis just like that's what it focused on. So I thought majority of this book was going to follow this 16-year-old girl who lives up on a mountain all by herself and has these magical abilities to talk to animals, try and raise a human child. And that's not really what I got, but there are perks of the story that I did fall in love with. There was a lot of really great like lines in this book, and you just kind of like, you get to see the kid grow up some, and then you get to see like the warring families that are like trying to get this child back and everything. And you see how, what is her name? Sybil. How Sybil gets caught up in the middle of all of it. And I think mostly what really surprises me about this, besides, you know, a completely different idea of what I thought the story was going to be, was how beautiful the writing is. Because as you can see, there's lots of little tabs in there because those were just lines where I was just like, that's so beautiful. And it's another one of those situations where like there are moments when like you have the male character who's just like absolutely fawning and in love with her, but it also like kind of suffered from the fact that every man that came into Sybil's life immediately fell in love with her, you know. But overall, it's a sweet story with just like really beautiful writing, and it has made me want to go and pick up other stories by her. So yeah, this was my biggest surprise. Question number 9, your biggest disappointment of the year. And this is another book that I do not own, but I read an arc of, and I will not be owning. But that goes to Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. I was thoroughly disappointed with this book. I was super hyped up for it. The cover is amazing. It's eye-catching. It catches you. You're like, what is this ghost? What is this creature? But unfortunately, the story inside was just, it was just a group of people who like really hated each other and just spent the entire book arguing with one another. And like the ghosts and, or yokai as they're referred to in the book because it's based off of Japanese ghost telling and everything, they fell to the background, and it really kind of ruined the atmosphere of the book and everything. Like I wanted a spooky horror ghost encounter kind of thing, and all I got was a group of people who severely hated each other, apparently taking a vacation together. And in the end, like, severely ticked me off. So it was without a doubt my biggest disappointment of the year. And question number 10, the one book that you would recommend to anyone. And at first I was gonna pick Penric, but then I was like, wait, that's a very like, you have to like really be in the mood for just kind of like a simple down kind of like I said, very domesticated kind of thing. So in the end, I ended up going with The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. I feel like it's full of enough action and heart and mystery, and then it drags you, it pulls you in, and his writing is just like phenomenal, that I feel like anybody who wants to pick up a fantasy book would just thoroughly enjoy this one. So that is my answer. That's my year in review. If you read any of these and you enjoyed them or didn't enjoy them, leave a comment, let me know. If you made it all the way through this video, I thank you. And you know, if you can, hit that subscribe button, comment, like, all of that stuff, because it does help. And like I said in my previous video, I am trying really hard to get this channel revived. So until next time, bye!